The political drama on Britain's right just exploded. Tommy Robinson has broken his silence in a way nobody expected, sending a direct and shocking message to Nigel Farage that could change everything. After months of whispers, rumours and public tension, Robinson's words cut through the noise. I'm not your enemy. This isn't just a statement, it's a call for unity in a time when division seems to rule the headlines. What does this mean for the future of Britain's political landscape? Stay with us as we unpack the full story behind this jaw-dropping revelation. Tensions have been simmering for some time now between Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage, two of the most prominent figures on the right side of British politics. The public has watched closely as accusations and media speculation fueled a narrative of conflict, painting the two as rivals locked in a bitter feud. But today, Robinson has flipped the script completely with a message that caught many off guard. Speaking openly for the first time in a while, Robinson insisted there is no personal hatred or rivalry between him and Farage. In his own words, I'm not your enemy. This simple yet powerful statement challenges everything the media has led the public to believe. Robinson, who has built his reputation as a voice outside the traditional political system, emphasised that the divisions we see are often the product of misunderstanding, misinformation, and deliberate media manipulation. He revealed that he has never even met Nigel Farage in person, which makes the alleged feud feel even more like a manufactured conflict rather than a genuine clash. Robinson suggested that Farage, like many others, may have been influenced by the persistent negative campaigns that have followed Robinson for years, casting him as a toxic figure unfairly. This admission invites viewers to rethink the narratives they have been fed, urging them to look beyond headlines and soundbites. In this moment, Robinson reached out not just to Farage, but to the broader movement that claims to oppose political corruption and the silencing of free speech. He called for a new kind of political revolution, one that unites rather than divides. Britain is primed for political revolution, he said, and that doesn't mean we have to be enemies. We need to focus on what's best for the country, not personal battles. His tone was hopeful yet firm, making it clear that the time for petty politics should be over. Robinson's words resonated with many who feel frustrated by the constant infighting and media-driven divides within the political right. Yet, the response to Robinson's message was mixed. While some praised his willingness to reach across perceived divides, others remained sceptical, wary of any change of heart. The divisions run deep, and old wounds do not heal overnight. Still, Robinson's direct appeal offers a glimpse of possibility. Could this be the start of a new chapter where shared goals take precedence over old grudges? This question hangs heavily as the political landscape in Britain braces for what might come next. The political fallout from Tommy Robinson's unexpected message to Nigel Farage sent shockwaves through the right-wing landscape. For years, the media and public discourse have painted Robinson and Farage as opponents locked in a bitter rivalry. But today's revelation challenges that narrative and demands a deeper look at what's really happening behind the scenes. Robinson's insistence that he is not your enemy strips away the noise and brings into focus a bigger picture, one that exposes how much of the discord is driven by media spin, strategic positioning, and a deep hunger for political power. It's a moment charged with suspense because it suggests the possibility of a fragile détente between two key players who have often been seen as representing opposing factions. The implication is clear. If Robinson and Farage can find common ground, what does this mean for the future direction of Britain's political right? Could this signal the beginning of a united front aimed at reshaping the nation's political destiny? Robinson's message also highlights the heavy toll that years of relentless media scrutiny have taken on both men, particularly on Robinson himself. Describing how he has been made into a toxic brand, Robinson acknowledges the long shadow cast over his name by constant negative portrayals. This branding has affected not only public opinion, but also political alliances, with many politicians and media figures either distancing themselves or outright attacking him. Robinson's suggestion that Farage might have been influenced by this perception opens a window into the complexities of political relationships, shaped by external forces rather than personal animosity. It raises important questions about how much of political discord is authentic, and how much is the product of image management, fear, and self-preservation. Robinson's plea to judge me, Farage, known for his outspoken nature and sharp criticism of political opponents, has remained relatively silent since Robinson's declaration. This silence only fuels speculation and intensifies the suspense. Supporters and critics alike are waiting for Farage's response, wondering if he will seize the opportunity to bridge the divide or continue to hold his ground, reinforcing the perception of a split. The dynamic between these two figures now hangs in a delicate balance, with the potential to influence not just their personal trajectories, but the broader direction of British politics. The question remains, will Farage accept Robinson's olive branch, or will the feud deepen, dragging the movement into further chaos? In the midst of this political drama, the public's role is crucial. Robinson's direct appeal to the people, to look beyond media-driven narratives and to judge him on his own merits, places power in the hands of ordinary citizens. It is a reminder that political narratives are not fixed. They are shaped by perception, choice, and engagement. The growing political unrest across Britain shows that many voters are hungry for change, but also wary of the constant infighting that diminishes trust in leadership. Robinson's message, therefore, resonates as a challenge to both leaders and followers, to break free from divisive cycles and to consider a future where cooperation might prevail. Whether this challenge will be met remains to be seen, but it is a moment charged with potential and fraught with uncertainty, making it one of the most compelling political stories unfolding right now. The political landscape in Britain is shifting rapidly, and Tommy Robinson's public statement to Nigel Farage is a flashpoint that captures the complexity of this transformation. For years, Robinson has been a figure surrounded by controversy, viewed by many as polarizing and by others as a symbol of resistance against what they perceive as political correctness and media bias. His decision to reach out to Farage, a figure equally divisive, yet immensely influential in British politics, signals a potential recalibration of alliances that could have far-reaching consequences. Robinson's declaration that he is not your enemy goes beyond personal reconciliation. It hints at a strategic pivot designed to consolidate power and influence within a fragmented right-wing movement. This is not simply a matter of egos clashing or grudges held. It reflects a calculated effort to reshape the political narrative at a time when voter disenchantment with mainstream parties is at an all-time high. Behind this dramatic message lies the reality of a movement struggling to find cohesion. Both Robinson and Farage have at times represented different facets of the same political dissatisfaction, one rooted in grassroots activism, the other in electoral politics. The tension between these approaches has often resulted in public spats, media spectacle, and lost opportunities for cooperation. Robinson's outreach can be interpreted as an attempt to bridge this divide, presenting a united front against a common adversary, the establishment and the mainstream media. This is crucial because the right-wing base in Britain is diverse and sometimes fragmented, with factions differing in ideology, strategy, and leadership loyalty. By extending an olive branch, Robinson might be aiming to unify these factions under a shared agenda, which could significantly boost their collective political capital in future elections. The broader implications of this potential alliance are profound. If Robinson and Farage manage to overcome their differences and work together, it could mark the beginning of a new phase in British politics, one characterised by a more unified right-wing movement, capable of exerting greater influence over policy and public opinion. This would undoubtedly alarm the political establishment, which has often benefited from the fragmentation and infighting that weakens opposition forces. Such a development could accelerate shifts in voter alignment, particularly among those disillusioned by the failures of traditional parties to address pressing issues like immigration, sovereignty, and national identity. The possibility of a coalition, or at least a tacit understanding between Robinson's supporters and Farage's political base, raises questions about how this might affect the broader electoral map, policy debates, and the stability of existing power structures. Yet, the road to unity is fraught with challenges. Deep mistrust remains, fueled by years of conflict, divergent political styles, and differing visions for the future. Robinson's more confrontational, activist-driven approach contrasts sharply with Farage's pragmatic, electoral-focused tactics. Reconciling these styles will require significant compromises and a willingness to prioritise shared goals over personal or ideological differences. Furthermore, both men must contend with and impact the future of the nation's political landscape in ways few anticipated. As the political tension escalates, the ripple effects of Tommy Robinson's shock message to Nigel Farage are beginning to be felt across Britain's political spectrum. The establishment, long accustomed to exploiting divisions among opposition voices, now faces the daunting prospect of a potentially unified front. This development threatens to disrupt the carefully balanced status quo and could alter the trajectory of British politics in profound ways. Robinson's declaration that he is not your enemy is a powerful rhetorical shift, signalling an end to the bitter public feuds that have often overshadowed substantive political discourse. But beyond the words lies a more strategic calculation, a recognition that in order to challenge the entrenched powers effectively, opposition figures must set aside personal grievances and focus on shared objectives. The consequences of this could be seismic, as it opens the door to a new era of cooperation between populist activists and seasoned politicians. Observers across the political landscape are now speculating on the potential outcomes of this unprecedented rapprochement. If Robinson and Farage manage to establish a working relationship, their combined influence could galvanise a large segment of the electorate that has felt alienated by the mainstream parties. Both figures command passionate followings, and their coming together might energise voters who have otherwise been disengaged or disillusioned. This is especially relevant given the current climate of economic uncertainty, rising social tensions, and growing dissatisfaction with the political establishment's handling of key issues such as immigration, national sovereignty, and economic recovery. By presenting a united front, Robinson and Farage could tap into these frustrations and offer a compelling alternative vision for Britain's future, one that challenges the prevailing narrative and promises decisive action. However, the road ahead is not without obstacles. Skepticism abounds among political analysts and within the supporter bases of both men. Many question whether this newfound civility can endure given the deep-seated differences in their political methods and personal histories. Tommy Robinson's style, marked by direct activism and controversial rhetoric, contrasts with Farage's more measured electoral approach. Reconciling these approaches will require not only strategic compromises, but also a degree of personal humility and trust that has so far been elusive. Moreover, the broader right-wing movement itself is fragmented, with various factions holding competing visions and priorities. Aligning these disparate elements into a cohesive force will demand skillful leadership and an ability to navigate internal rivalries and ideological disputes. The stakes are high, as failure to do so could result in further fragmentation and lost opportunities. Political opponents are also keenly aware of the risks posed by this potential alliance. The mainstream parties and the media have historically leveraged the divisions between Robinson and Farage to weaken their influence and maintain dominance. With these divisions now potentially closing, the establishment faces a new challenge. Efforts to undermine or discredit the partnership are likely to intensify, using both traditional media narratives and emerging digital platforms to sow discord and suspicion. This battle for public perception will be crucial. How Robinson and Farage manage their public messaging, respond to criticism, and maintain unity in the face of external pressures will largely determine the success of their collaboration. It is a high-stakes game where missteps could quickly unravel progress and reinforce existing divisions. Public response to this announcement has been deeply polarised. Supporters of both men have expressed cautious optimism, seeing this as a rare opportunity to unite their political energies toward common goals. Yet there is also a significant contingent of critics who view the message with suspicion or outright hostility, fearing that such an alliance could exacerbate social divisions or embolden extremist elements. Social media platforms have become hotbeds of debate, with heated exchanges reflecting the broader national tensions. The intensity of these reactions highlights the symbolic weight of Robinson's statement and its capacity to provoke strong emotions across the political spectrum. This dynamic underscores the volatile nature of current political discourse and the challenge of forging unity amid deep-seated polarisation. Looking ahead, the coming weeks and months will be critical in determining whether Tommy Robinson's message to Nigel Farage marks a genuine turning point or remains a fleeting moment of political theatre. The world will be watching closely as both figures navigate the complex terrain of alliance building. Pew.